Joining us now, my great, great friend, Ohio Congressman, and author of Do What You Said You Would Do, that being Jim Jordan, old friend. Well, Jim Jordan, Congressman Jordan, actually, you're on the Judiciary Committee, if my memory serves me.
Yep.
Maybe the ranking Republican. So here's this, Merrick Garland weaponizing the Justice Department against parents. And the teachers, of course, deny anything. And we've got them cold. I mean, we're looking at their own resolutions. But what do you make of all this? Where's this story going?
Well, Merrick Garland will be in front of our committee in 2 weeks, so I'm looking forward to asking him questions about this issue and a host of others, the FISA court, all kinds of things I think we need to ask the Attorney General about. First time he's been in front of the committee, since he's been Attorney General this entire Congress. So we're looking forward to that. But I guess my first takeaway is, Democrats tell us Antifa is not a terrorist organization, but parents are. I mean, this is what offends so many people. And, this is on the heels of what happened last week, where Secretary of Education Cardona said, oh, parents are just upset because their guy, President Trump, their guy didn't win. I mean, the disdain they have for moms and dads who care infinitely more about the well-being of their children than some bureaucrat in Washington, D.C. does, it just drives people crazy. So, look, I'm looking forward to asking Mr. Garland some questions about this and a host of other issues, but this is as wrong as it gets.
I mean, don't parents have a right? I mean, among other things, Jim Jordan, these school boards are elected, most of them, as far as I know, around the country. They're local elections. A lot of political careers start at the school board level. So the parents, they're one of the key people that elect these school boards. So now the school boards don't want to be criticized because they're shilling for the teachers' unions, which are teaching all this crazy critical race theory, which is just a bunch of racism, and you're not doing, as I say, reading, writing, and arithmetic. I mean, I don't see the logic of this. Don't we have laws on the books anyway to deal with violent threats if such things occur?
Of course we do. And what this is an attack on the First Amendment. You have a right to redress your grievances, to go to the government, to redress your grievances, to petition your government, to hear your concerns. That's what parents are doing. And some of these parents, Larry, right outside of D.C. in Loudoun County, it's a big issue with this, with the critical race theory. There's going to be some moms run for school board who are going to win, who are going to replace these very people who were calling, saying parents are domestic terrorists. This is going to change, and it is a good thing. And some of those same moms, I always say, I have to deal with lobbyists all the time, but no high-paid lobbyist will ever beat a mom on a mission to do what's best for her child. And these moms, some of them are going to win these school board races, they're going to transform their school, and then in a few years, those same people are going to be running for the United States Congress, and that's a good thing. We have to push back at every level because this march towards communism and socialism from today's left is crazy. They want to, think about this, the federal government wants to control your health, they want to control your bank account, we found out about that proposal, and now they want to control your child's education, and it is scary.
How about former Governor Terry McAuliffe, now running again for governor of Virginia? So in the debate, I guess, he says to Glenn Youngkin, who's his challenger, Republican challenger, parents have no right in the school, parents have no right to tell teachers. How about that? You think that's going to help him? Yeah.
No, it's going to hurt. I mean, that was the same week as Cardona made his comments, and then we have now what the Attorney General's doing. It's not going to work. But it's this disdain that the so-called elite have for us regular folks. Remember Peter Strzok? When he said he's in the Walmart and he said, I can smell the Trump supporters. They don't like us. We're the deplorables. We're the ones who cling to our Bible and guns. And the truth is we're just regular Americans who value the Constitution, who value liberty, and care about our kids' education, and don't want this racist, bash America curriculum called critical race theory. We don't want that taught to our kids.
And I'll just say, by the way, I associate and identify with the deplorables. I know I may not look like a card-carrying deplorable, but my heart and my brain are with the deplorables completely as a former Trump senior official.
Exactly.
But I just want to add one point. I want to move on to some of this crazy budget stuff. But I don't know. I don't know how much to... Look, this hurts the minority kids. That's what I'm trying to say. I think, just me, hurts. They're being told they're inferior. They're being told they're guilty, they're wrong. They're being told these white kids on the other side of the room or wherever they are next to you, they're being told they can't get and climb the ladder of opportunity because of all this racial divide. Now, to me, that's going to hurt the minority kids as much or more than the targets.
Yeah, no, and also what really bothers me is if you could think back to the people who impacted your life, it was a teacher or coach who you had when you were coming through your education, and it was always the ones who challenged you, who demanded you work hard, who told you about setting goals, working hard, and accomplishing things. That's not what this curriculum's about. This curriculum's about, oh, you're a victim, everyone's a victim. How is that helping that individual, and how is that helping our country? So I think about my old coach and my chemistry teacher and the things he taught me. He challenged me and my classmates and teammates every single day. Those are the people I remember and respect. That's not what this is about. And that's again, what's so unfortunate and why this is so wrong.
So this kind of left-wing ideology, teaching about the racial divide and white supremacism and so forth and so on, and burying the minority kids and making them feel awful. I see this as the analog, Jim. I'm going to go to the budget, but follow me on this. The logic is not as crazy as you might think, because in this left-wing progressive budget, crazy budget, reckless budget, they have a barrel full of new welfare and entitlement programs, none of which require workfare, and none of which require education. Now, to me, that's just, pardon the phrase, but it's keeping the minorities down on the farm. I'm sorry, it denies opportunity. You're not going to climb the ladder of opportunity if you're dependent on welfare, and you're getting all these cash handouts, right? Refundable tax credits are cash handouts, as well as other entitlements, and you don't have to work, you don't have to look for work, you don't have to go to school. Now, that to me is crazy, and that's going to do a lot of damage, too. A lot of damage.
No, you're exactly right. All the big spending, coupled with we're going to run your health, we're going to run your child's education, we're going to run your bank account, you don't have to work. And what does Dr. Fauci also say last week? He says, oh, you have to give up your freedom for the greater good. Now, if that's not communism, if that's not socialism, I don't know what is. That is not healthy for individuals, that's not healthy for families, and it's certainly not good for our country. But that is exactly where the left wants to take us, and this is all kind of playing out in these school board fights that are happening around the country because parents don't buy it. They don't want that. They don't want that kind of curriculum, that kind of education for their kids. They actually believe in what you and I believe in, setting goals, working hard, and achieving the American dream. That's what we should be encouraging and teaching the young people in our schools.
I mean, it's all a piece of this far left-wing ideological hatred culture. You know, cancel America's culture, and we're going to bring you a new culture, which is a total fabrication out of whole cloth. It has nothing to do with real, factual American history. And by the by, you know, perhaps the greatest entitlement program of all, put in place by Democrat Franklin Roosevelt, was Social Security. And in Social Security, you worked your whole life, and you paid into the fund, and then when you retire, you get money back from the federal government. That's the ultimate link, right, between work, effort, and assistance. We lost that. It's a cultural loss, Jim. I mean, I could talk about it in economic terms, and we both could, but it's a cultural loss.
Yeah, this whole cultural phenomenon where people say our country's bad, bash our country, minimize work, minimize effort, minimize goal setting, in my judgment. It is not healthy, not good. And again, parents are waking up to this, and they're pushing back on the crazy left-wing agenda that they see. And I think they're going to prevail. I really do. I'm always an optimist because we're Americans. And I think these parents are going to push back. Like I said, some of them are going to run and win and be on the school board. And in a few years, I think some of those same people, probably moms, are going to be in the United States Congress. And I think that'll be a good thing.
Can't wait. Jim Jordan, save America, kill the bill. Save America.
All right, we will.
Kill the bill. Thanks ever so much. Hope to see you
thanks,
soon.
Larry.
All right.